Okay, here we go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is. I hope it's good to be where you are, because it is certainly good to be here. My name is Baltimore Fats, and this is Mud City Road Trip. Yeah, okay. All right, so here we go. I'm just going to dive right in. I hope everybody's doing well today. As you just heard, I went on a road trip today. We went up to Philadelphia as a family, and I got to spend an hour kicking around this neighborhood, and this is Independence Hall. Okay, and that's kind of the area we're going to start in, and I'm going to use a little bit of Google Earth here, and I'm going to use a little bit of photos that I took today, and we're going to see what we can find out about Old Town Philadelphia here. So I'm going to bring that back up to the sky. All right, and then I'm going to go with my pictures, which are here. Okay. Oh, let me go back to the sky for a second real quick. So one thing that's of interest here it is, right? These two buildings, which the higher you get, they have the same shape that I've been looking at in Baltimore, and these hard shapes that you see on the old maps. And if you were to look at this from above and come from this direction, it would read OJ. That's just, something that's probably maybe only funny to me, but I think that's kind of hilarious. So coming down like from this side, right? And then I do have pictures of my own from up front that come a little bit later. But we're kind of coming from this direction here as I start these photos, okay? And I think it's this building, are these figures, right? So whenever I see figures or faces, and now the intrepid Mr. X, he's really proficient at pointing them out for me too. I saw these two ladies hanging out above this entrance, and so from the street level I couldn't really see. Only when I looked at this photograph later could I see that they're revealing. And so in my next medallion for the arches, I have a woman who's revealing herself, right? So it's kind of a crazy non-coincidence, I thought. Right? And so now going back, let's see, to the next. All right, what's really hilarious is that it's a Wawa now. All right, there they are above the Wawa. All right, and so I'm going to go back real quick to Google Earth, right? And we're going to go back down to the street level here. So again, coming in from this direction here, right? And I can't wait to tell you what I believe this building is as well. It's kind of fun, coincidence, non-coincidence. Street level. So let's go back, right? What? Can we back this up a little bit? How did this happen? I had a nice good picture before. Sorry guys, let's try that again. I know people are probably going to make something of that. Seeing it so close, I wasn't quite sure it was there. Wait a minute, what happened? They moved me around, and they got me lost. Independence Visitor Center. Sorry guys, I've already had a couple false starts. I'm just going to roll with this one. Well, that's what I should do. I should look for my letters. Where are my letters? Where's the O and the J? Where'd they go? Ah, here they are. Okay. So I want to be here. Put me down there. Isn't that where I was? They're going to give me the same crappy angle. See, they don't want you to tell. But this is flat. This is what would be level all around this plaza, right? When you go back. This front area here is level, right? And they do a pretty good job making this all level. And as we back up, it's all leveled out around this square or rectangle here, this shape here, right? All of this is raised about 4 feet off the ground compared to the rest of the city. All right, and it's very, very curious. And we'll go back down to street level just so I can demonstrate as we go forward. All right, we have our standard, flush with the sidewalk windows, right? And they do show a slight decline, right? So you can see there's a little level, there's a pitch here, right? It's not very significant. You really have to sort of pay attention. But you can see that the entranceway is, a couple feet off the ground anyway, which is also a sign that I look for when assessing these older buildings. And because newer buildings are just copying the old architecture, right? So, but when you have something that they put an old date on, anyway, you don't have to guess, right? They tell you that this is X old. I went looking in the corners there for anything. I didn't really see much over here. But now, so let me get to my pictures because the next one is where it starts, right? So here we go. We're coming around the corner now. So this is the intrepid Mr. X, right? And you can see, and he's your typical 10-year-old height, a little bit tall, but not too tall. For a 10-year-old, he's not the tallest 10-year-old, but by no means the shortest, right? And this is just under shoulder length, right? Comes right up to about my armpits, maybe, chest. All right, and now let's go back up. Let's go back up. And that's here. Coming down, let's go back down to street level, just so. And that's right on the other side of this bus. All right, right along in here. You can see how raised it is, right? And now look, and this is it's kind of a crazy thing, especially when we get up to the top. So let's get to some of my pictures because I have it demonstrated, I think, a little bit better. So when you turn the corner, you see these windows, and you go around. And now if you follow that where this retaining wall is, you see where those windows would be, perhaps. So let's continue. Here's another angle of those ladies. But here, the Public Ledger, which was the other paper that our boy Shepherdson Abel, this was that newspaper that lasted into the 40s. It's that building that has, what do we got going on here? We got something going on. Look at that. You see that face in there? That's crazy. So that's the other newspaper that the guy who founded the Sun. Here more example of the engineering that happened to create this park and the city all around it. Because everything that's around this rectangle is 3 feet lower than this stuff. At least at street level, right? I mean, here we go. And can we see it from there? I want to see. Maybe you can see, not in this picture, but in others we can. All right, looking straight across this grass to this doorway is almost level. Like if they didn't cut this out as a street on the other side of this. All right, let's. I think it's too. See, there's a street that crosses here, right? And if you were to, and again, follow the line across to where the doors are and where these stairs and everything are. You follow that along to these buildings, and it pretty much comes up to where the doors are. Maybe a step or two. Right? And again, I just straight shot across to that door. 3 feet above street level for this park. Now, come on. Play nice. And here, yeah, just so you can see, here's cars, I think. Right, this is the top of a pickup truck, I think. There's like a van, right? So you can see how much below the street that window is. Yeah. And from this angle, it doesn't. But I'm standing now on top of the hill, and so I'm raised above. So my perspective is different here. Again, another shot to show you how high up we are in here. But again, if you were to follow if there was that road wasn't there, you could just walk straight up to that door. What building do they say this? I did not look up this building. The Mutual Life and Insurance Company. I'm going to have to look up the date on when they say that one was built compared to these other ones. All right, now this is a building that is, I think, the Philosophical Society building. I get a closer, there's a plaque on it. I get a picture of the plaque. And again, this grand doorway. And now, I think we've stepped back down more to street level again. They might have cleared this. There, it's like, let's see if we can see it. The problem, I looked around the, would be, where would that be? That would be over there. So we're going this way. And so here's that, is this the Theosophical Society, or the Philosophical Society? No. This is the Philosophical Society here, which is has a great bit about it, because I come back to the park, there's this for around 2. Okay, so back now here, going across. All right, now this is looking back around. This is the Philosophical Society's across the street. Or not the Philosophical, whatever that building with Ben Franklin on the top and the high ascending stairway. Come on. Here, so we're coming now here. And just to show you that again. So this is all raised park, and then you have to step down to street level here that's cleared, right? And, all right, this is a shot looking back. Now, you see where the windows are, where these windows are, right? Compared to what was cleared out. So all of this over here, there was at one point was land. They engineered all of this around this square, right? And so when you look, if you were to follow that same bit across, it would be about that high. See, almost shoulder high. They dug all this area out again from the original, that one square that Independence Hall is on. Okay. All right, and so walking further along now, I believe we're going this way into Thomas Jefferson Garden, and they have, and I don't think this is Thomas Jefferson, they have this statue there called the Signer. I think that's Charles Carroll of Carrollton, who goes by the Signer. So I can't. The only signature on this was the date of the sculptor and his name, which was 1980. All right, and so I don't know if this is the Second Bank of America building. I'm not sure, because what happened was we got up there and then we really could not spend the time in the Independence Hall area that we thought we were going to. So, so we're kind of moving away now. It must be, yeah, it's either this building or the Second Bank of America building that has this feature. And I do a little bit more. We're going to talk about the Second Bank of America in a little bit. I noticed this over here, and I was like, okay, I got to go investigate that, right? And sure enough, there's a ramp that leads all the way down to this door. Right, Second Bank of America building. On top of it, we have the anvil and the plow. right? Which I thought was interesting. And we also have this crazy goat or lamb. I don't think that's definitely more lamb than goat, I think. I don't know, to my eyes anyway. All right, yeah, this is the second bank. All right, we're going to talk about the second bank. All right. Again, I'm not sure. This is just, you know, ping ponging around this, Independence Hall neighborhood, right? See how spaced these are, right? It makes me think there was probably a window there, a window there at one point, and that window is an add-on. But again, pure speculation. I went up and investigated this window. It's not much deeper than that, only about 2 inches or so. But we have, a more modern bulkhead on the side, right? And this very raised doorway, which is, conveniently below a window. And each window here. Now here we go. Now I know what this is. Let's see. Let me go back. No, I'm going the wrong way. Did I get a front shot of that? This here is Carpenter's Hall. And that's a very fascinating place, and I'm excited to get in there. Let me tell you. I set a timer for this one. It's not going to make it. This is going to be I'm just going to ramble on and on. Carpenter's Hall. And this is an American military museum. It has a better name than that. And I have a slightly better picture of it than this. This is kind of me being stealth. I'm kind of just walking by. I don't think my camera's, in right position. They're just clicking. But again, these bulkheads directly under windows. All right. And now we're inside. Now this is what happens when I don't preview my. Pardon me. Don't preview my pictures very well. And I didn't take a lot of pictures because my battery was very low. I needed to get a charge in it. But there was a guy in costume, right? Tour guide kind of guy. And so, I kind of, sidled up next to him for a second, and I said, "Hey, you ever get in the basement of this building here?" And he said, "No." I'd never been in the basement there. And I'm like, let's see, where are we? Jefferson Garden. So it's going to be on the other side of the... Sorry, guys. It's going to be on the other side of the bank. All right, where did the bank go? New Hall Military Museum, right? And behind it is this. This is... Look at that design on top. That looks really awesome. This is Carpenter's Hall, right? And so we have the military museum right next to it. And so this guy was hanging around in this courtyard down here talking with tourists who I'm sure paid him. And I just walk up right next to him because that's what I do. And I asked him about going in there. I was hoping to see like the chimneys and stuff. There are a couple chimneys on the top of it, but conveniently enough, there's nice foliage coverage around all of this. Hard to get the best angles from above with this type of foliage. And he told me that it was common and that this house was built in 1780s, he felt, if I'm remembering correctly. And he said that most time it was probably kitchen access, right? And that the kitchen was down there. And it was common practice for kitchens to be in these big in basements in these big buildings to help warm, right? It was the hearth. And I'm like, well, how many kitchens? This building really isn't that big. How many kitchens did they need? Yeah. All right, so we're gonna walk into Carpenter's Hall now, and I always spoil these things. I always go too far. This is right when you first walk in. Bang! Right there's my cane. Right? But we have Scottish Freemasonry, right? The blue and white chevron. All right. No doubt about it. That's Scottish Freemasonry, right in the tile work there. This tile work, by the way, not original to the building. The original building had hardwood floor. This tile was put in the 1850s, as I found out later. I just thought I'd spread that along. Above the fireplaces, we have the same insignia. right? Instituted 1724, this carpenters union. Look at that. The sun has a face that has this weird mouth. I didn't notice that before. All right, and we got, this is the thing that sits on top of the marine signal, right? Insignia, right? Nope, that's a dragon. Some sort of phoenix, or I don't know what that is. Oh my god, I thought that was the marine thing when I was standing in there. I didn't notice that had a long, like a neck like that. I thought that's crazy. I love it. I don't know what kind of flowers those are. Oh, there's stuff on top there too. So it talks about the Carpenters Company. All right. I can't really read that. I didn't get a good picture. I was really, again, I had about an hour for this whole area, so I tried to get as much in as I could. I come back here, and they had one of my favorites. Here we go. Instead of pictures, we have models of how they built it, right? And I'm going to see how many pictures of these that I take. I'm not going to bother with all that stuff. Let's see, I want to come back to that angle. That's not the angle I really want to start with. But I noticed that they have, like, these windows here, and they're already, like, they're boarded up. You know? Why are those boarded up? You know? They're finished in the basement, and they don't, I don't understand, because all of these are open. And so, let's see. Come on. Here is the front. And again, planned like it has, like they know there's going to be a high stairway, This guy is allegedly the architect, after reading the thing. But you can see, like, it's going to have the four gables or whatever these are called, right? With that nice X sort of effect from the top. All right. Here's the tower as they represent it here. And I think it's interesting looking at this is the scaffolding is only on sort of one side to help get the frames up for the roof, right? Or maybe the scaffolding is on the other side as well. I didn't get as much coverage of this as I had hoped, but I do come back to it. Yeah, I'm not going to read this stuff. We stopped into a place that had this book hanging out, and I have to find out about this book. This was like a science museum, and they had a little bit of history of like the printing press or something, or the book binding, and so they had a bunch of really old books that were sort of damaged and not really worth anything, and this was one of them. It's called Dark Scenes of History. Did I not get the... It was like 1850 this book was published. I'm going to try to find that book. And so as we leave there, we're strolling along, and I find this doorway for 42B. 42 and 42B. Now we're coming back towards Independence Hall, and this is now the front from when I finally really sort of get to take a look at the front. And I did get a shot of the tower. And all right, here's the side building, which you can see what's happening there. And like I said, behind these buildings, everything is 3 feet higher. Everything is 3 feet higher, right? This is going around the corner. I kind of do it again. I kind of went back and I did sort of double check myself. Right? Here we are. If we followed along, and so, if you're thinking, here's a door, right? That's the same door that Mr. X was looking up, at. Right, here's how many steps you have to walk up to get to that plateau that that whole back courtyard is on. Where is it going this way? All right. This whole square here. All right. it's crazy. It's that they have everything there 4 feet off the ground, but then you can clearly see that these buildings around it have entranceways that are conveniently about 3 or 4 feet off the ground. uh, you know, I want to say something clever like, Sherlock Magoo, you've done it again. It's unbelievable. If you have a will to see it, you're going to be able to see it. All right, I didn't quite make this. Might be the philosophical building with this round edge, which kind of reminded me of a Catholic church. Most Catholic churches and those old stone churches have a back that is kind of rounded out like that, right? And again, you see, this was a walkway they cut through they made a ramp for like wheelchairs, like for handicapped people, right? Because the only other way was steps. At least that's my guess as to why that is there, And even on this hill, they have raised stairs. All right, and look at that window. I mean, that is a window that's getting overgrown, And that's just another shot. More shots, and here we go. Now this is definitely the philosophical building, because I talked to the security guard, and let's get back there, right? Because the whole thing was fenced off, right? There was security everywhere, right? And no, do I want this 3D? Will that help me any? So now the windows I'm about to show you are here, all right? And inside this raised park, right? And here's one of them, right? Covered over with a glass bubble. And this one has a wooden box covered over it. Here, this is kind of a better, like a distance shot. Now, again, this was fenced off, there was a chain, and a security guard was standing there. You can see the same back down here, right? And even here, they got some weirdness going on under this doorway. Like at Mount Clair, they had the kind of same thing, fenced off, and you can see that there's definitely some form of window or something under this doorway. And oops. So now I need to hit the Google Earth. Where is it? And so now we're going to go to the street level again. And we're going to go right here. Yes. How hard is it to just go there? What am I not doing right? Here we go. These windows are the other side of it. Right? So the other side of this building, right? Those windows at street level on the other side are these windows. This one, all right? And this one. And the others. And so I asked the security guard there, I was curious about these windows, and she didn't want to talk to me. But, I could be charming. And so, I just kept asking a couple basic questions, how deep down is you never just went over there and looked in, and you ever peeked down? What is that? How far down do you see to the bottom of that window? You see, is it like 6 inches? Is it, 2 feet? And she was, after a while, me just kind of standing there and taking pictures of it. And, she said it's about 18 inches to 2 feet. I mean, I don't know. Again, I did suggest it to her, so, and I am charming. But, that's what she said. She said, I mean, you could, that it was, about 18 inches to 24 inches. And, so then I just got another quick look at this. And again, if you carry it across, if you carry the level across from where we're standing, right? Here it is. Right, because here's that building with the elevated stairs, right? With Ben Franklin on it. No, it's over here. There it is. Thought it was under that tree. You see, the trees make things difficult. So going here, right? This is so high. And if you were to follow that across, it would be at these doors. Right? They dug all of this out. Right? It was a massive engineering project. They dug out the whole sort of Old Town area around Independence Hall. So why not dig out Independence Hall? Why not dig out some of those other buildings? Oh, wait a minute. What did that say? Was this the Philosophical Society held at Philadelphia for promoting useful knowledge, begun by Benjamin Franklin in 1743, reorganized in its present name in 1769. That's why Ben Franklin kind of organizes a college and a philosophical society and 2 libraries and all, all this other stuff. And then he splits for 20 years. Pardon me. Unbelievable. Okay. Again, just showcasing that something is under there. They tore this out to get down there for something. For what? I don't know. This is, again, the second bank building. Of course, because that's what all old bank buildings look like. This might be the, I don't know which building that is. All right, so now I'm back at Carpenter's Hall. And I didn't get the coverage outside even the second time I went. But, I mean, can I get even a little bit of this? This, they say, is all the original brickwork from 1770 to 1774. And they say this building, and it's a relatively small building in comparison with others, took 4 years to build, right? And I'm going to get into the history of them a little bit. Oops. Who was that? I'm going to clear up enough. Gunning Bedford, right? Served as the Carpenter Company's president from, look at this guy. How many sets of steps do you think he walked up? President of the Carpenters Guild, are you kidding me? That guy doesn't look like he ever built anything. And so, again, I had pictures of this set up before, and let's see. But when I was in there, I went in and I asked again for a second time. I went in and I wanted to know about the brickwork outside. Had it ever been resurfaced? And so I went in and there was a woman, a guide in there. She said, I can't answer that really, but there's a tour guide here who can. And so she introduced me to this other tour guide who was really pleasant, super knowledgeable, and so I asked him about that, and he sparked up with interest, and again, because if you approach some of these people with genuine curiosity, man, they'll go the extra mile for you. And, oh, wow, that's a half an hour already, and I didn't even get into the history stuff. I'm winding down this. We'll see how long I go, but some of them have been close to, some of them, I'm just going to go. So I was telling him about these windows and how I noticed that they were all boarded up here, even during construction, as they are presently outside, right? And so that must be what this picture out here is. Wait a minute. No, I'm going the wrong way. This is oh, and I get a good look at the brickwork here. Maybe I can a little bit anyway. This is all original brickwork, they said, except for, they said the points, maybe. Maybe that's what the points mean by here. And so I started talking to him about the windows, and he showed great interest in that. And I started asking him about the cellar, and he said, and you can't see, I didn't get any pictures of it because there's a fence around the back side, so you can't really see the back, even from the Google Earth view, you can't see the back. But he pointed out this feature, which I really didn't notice in my quick pictures before. All right, this is basement access. They were allegedly building into Carpenter's Hall, all right? And I asked him, was there a kitchen? Did they, is there a hearth down there? Because I had heard that basements could be used. He said there was never a kitchen in Carpenter's Hall. that he didn't even think it was ever really used as a wine cellar, and that perhaps the cellar was used for storing tools, is what he felt. All right, and today you can't really see this. This is all obscured from the view. There's a high fence back along here where this case would be. Right. I guess maybe if you crept up on it, you might be able to get something. And I noticed, and I said, well, what about this here? You know, is this still part of the building? And he's, you know, yeah. And was that like coal chutes? Like, no, there were never coal furnaces here. There were just the 2 wood fireplaces. Maybe 4, he might have said, because of upstairs. And so, right, there you can see one of the fireplaces, and there the guys again. Right, you see the way it looks from here, right? And they have it look exactly, you know, pretty close to what it looks like from the outside. And again, maybe you can see these other features, but I certainly couldn't get an angle on them from the ground or from Google Earth. It was certainly not a good one. Right, and so then, you know, so we just kept talking about this kind of stuff, and he was showing interest. He goes, oh, you want to see something? I'm like, yeah. Yes, I want to see something. And so he took me out, and he started showing me these steps that go up, right? And then, you know, I said, so tell me a little bit about the architecture. And he was like, well, it's Georgian. And I said, well, you got Palladian windows in here? He goes, yeah, look right there. There's a Palladian window. And I'm like, oh, there it is. All right. Oh, now I'm going the wrong way, the other way. He showed me that we were talking about the basement, right? And he showed me that this door, he said that the inside of Carpenter's Hall was redone in the 1850s when the tile floor was put in, and that the original wood floor is still underneath that tile. But he said they created this access into the basement in the 1850s, and it always kind of intrigued him as a tour guide here because it doesn't fit the rest of the house, right? And he points out this gap between the window and the staircase that they built, and right, and he said this always intrigued, this is all new, and that look up here, the way it, you know, does that even take the step? You know, I don't know. But this was construction that was added for basement access in the 1850s. And he didn't know, as a tour guide, where the basement entrance was or would have been from inside the hall to the basement before the 1850s, because that was new to the 1850s. Which I thought was pretty incredible, right? And I kind of tried to get an upshot, you know, to show that gap that they left there for whatever reason. And here are the tools that they used. Some of these are original tools, allegedly, from the construction, you know, and, you know, we all know how the use of museums and displays and stuff and what their purposes are. All right. And up here, I did not get a good shot of this because there were people coming and going. Here, they did a cross-section. So those are the original beams inside. They took a cross-section, as you can see. And he said that in all the original woodwork, there's no nails. There's not a nail in the original framing of the house, which I thought was curious, you know, especially because I know that certainly there was iron smithies all over the place. You know, just more of their master masonry, I guess. All right. All right. And so leaving there and walking, I just got a few more pics, and then I'm going to get into the history a little bit, because that Carpenter's Hall is crazy with its history and some of these other things too. Maybe I'll do a part 1 and a 2. I'll do the visual tour and I'll do the history and let you guys sort it out. I think I got a better one of this. I don't know what building this is, but it looks, I'll try to find it from above. It looks really awesome from above. But this is a close-up of it, and I want to note the Palladian window that's way at the top of this thing as well. You know, like we see in churches, way up high on the top of this one, right? And the set of threes, as in, you know, like my threes video, right? And we got this eagle sitting on top of that globe, right? So I thought that was pretty interesting. And just, I could have taken a million of these. Windows, half sunk with doors, these clearly moded out. This was not an original design feature for these buildings. Um, you know, yeah, I'm hard pressed to believe, especially with the uniformity of them, that they knocked these windows out and dug this out post. No, those windows were there, and then they had to dig this area out. And you know, they've only had paved roads and sidewalks really for what 100 years. How many inches of strata could possibly be laid down? Especially when you could see how other areas of the city right close to this are cut out. I mean, clearly cut out. All right, another. You can see. So let me see if I can get back up top. That's the end of the walking tour. I know I'm gonna have to edit it, and then I know I'm gonna have to do some history as well. So, but let's see. Yeah, here we go. Here, whatever. Let's see. What is this building? That's the American Revolutionary War Museum. They don't tell me what this is. But look at that from the top. Doesn't that look awesome? Ah, can I get over it good? I guess not. All right. So, X marks the spot on this one, I guess, right? Okay, everybody, that's the end of part one. I'm going to do a history part two. We'll see how long that one goes. So until the next one, cheers, guys.